God, I hate those pictures I painted. They're so dumb. I'm just too lazy to redo them. Okay. Just waiting for people to turn up. Let's see. Okay, 2 days in a row. Oh, thanks, Tabitha. You're so loyal. Yeah, I think I mentioned yesterday I'm changing internet and phone providers. I was on the phone yesterday for 7.5 hours with them. It's messier now than it ever was. I know they do it. It's a way of just hoping you'll give up and pay whatever they billed you. But yeah, they've messed everything up. So yeah, I'm finding it very stressful, which I find interesting. I've been through a lot in my life, and yet this is stressing me out, trying to change internet providers. So I'm trying to work on this, right? Like I'm trying to sort of deal with it better. But yeah, it made me, literally, I was nauseous yesterday. And this morning I could barely work out at the gym. Isn't that funny that bothered? I think because I feel taken advantage of. I don't like that feeling. I feel out of control, but I'll get it. I'll get them. I'll get them to come through with what they promised. Might take me a year, but I'll do it. Okay, so enough about that. But yeah, I was very stressed out. My daughter and I filmed the carpet story on Monday. Today's Wednesday. We filmed a couple more podcasts today, but we told the carpet story on Monday. So I don't know when it's going to be coming out in the podcast, but yeah, it's we had fun telling it. We're also in the podcast. We're just learning. We realize that we're not supposed to interrupt each other because with sound quality, it sounds awful. We've got 2 microphones and we're 2 different cameras and that. But anyway, yeah, so we're learning as we do this, but we're having a lot of fun doing the podcast. Anyway, okay, we'll just, I've hardly got anyone on here yet. What time is it? Oh, it's 4:00. Weird time for me to be on. If I drop out, it's because my internet provider is calling. I had a 2:30 appointment with them for them to call me. It was an hour and a half ago. So if they call, I'll have to drop out of the live. Or I might even just say, forget it. I'll just call them tomorrow. I spent all day yesterday on the phone with them. So yeah, we'll see. I can't just sit around waiting for them. I feel like that loser girl who's waiting around for the guy to call. It's an internet provider, for God's sake, which is far more important than any man. But anyway, we need the internet, don't we? Okay, so I'll just start the live. Welcome or welcome back. My name is Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I'm a mom. I'm also a grandmother. And if you go on BratBusters.com, you can get my free behavior board, my courses. You can look into coaching. I'm taking on a bunch of new clients this week because I finished up with a whole bunch, and they didn't most of those didn't re-sign. So results, sometimes I'll have a week where everyone re-signs up again. So, but yeah, I've got a bunch of openings right now. I usually have I get asked this sometimes, how many clients do I have on the go at any given time? But they come and go. Like they'll sometimes bank sessions or they go away on holidays so I can fit other people in. But I usually have about 100 going at any given time. So yeah, I've learned how to manage all that over the years. Yeah, I was here yesterday because I was on the phone all day with the internet provider, and I took a break to do a live because lives, I find this very relaxing. Doing this, there's no pressure in a live, whereas in coaching, it's my favorite thing to do, but there's pressure because I have to get results they're paying me good money to get results. So there's pressure. This is no pressure. So I find it very relaxing. And it's one of my favorite things to talk about is parenting. So what am I thinking here? Carpet story coming soon. Might be my birthing present. I'm getting really close. Ooh. The thought of going into labor just makes me shudder because it wasn't my favorite thing to do in the world. But yeah, I'm not good at all that stuff. I'm great once they pop out. I'm not good at being pregnant. And Okay, start the podcast. Having issues finding consequences for a 3-year-old who finds timeout and punishments are funny. Oh, I hate timeout. Don't do timeout. We're trying to switch that up and need help. I did listen to your second podcast on this, but I'm still struggling. Check out the behavior board. It tells you how to do this, how to impose consequences. But yeah, timeout isn't a consequence. There's no lesson learned. Timeout is just about shaming, and they don't learn anything. I think it's mean. I don't like timeout at all. So yeah, I know it's popular, but I don't like it. There's a lot of stuff that's popular that I can't stand. Okay. Yeah, we filmed this is so funny. We told this story today. My daughter, okay, so I'm changing internet providers. It's a whole thing. So she goes, well, where is your password for your new Wi-Fi? And I said, oh, I wrote it down somewhere. I'm looking all over my computer. And she says, just hand me your phone and I'll show you how you find it. Turns out I didn't have it on there, but I'd taken a picture of it. I remember putting it somewhere where I wouldn't forget. Anyway, she says, okay, here's what we're going to do. And she shows me. Now she goes, now do this, push that button, push that button. Then she said to me, my daughter said to me, okay, have you got that, Mom? And I said, oh, I wasn't listening. All I was doing was following every step she was telling me, but I have no clue what I did. I wasn't paying attention. It's like if I'm driving and someone's guiding me on turn right, turn left, I have no clue where I am. Are you that stupid too? Am I the only one that's like this? If someone's guiding me through step by step, I completely don't listen. I just do it. So yeah, we were laughing. What a dope I was. So anyway. Okay. Oh, you're a natural breeder. Yeah, I'm the opposite. I had, this is Tabitha on YouTube. Tabitha's a regular on here and she's due any day now, I guess, pretty soon. So but yeah, I had, after my son, I had back surgery because it aggravated an existing fracture. And with my daughter, I developed arrhythmia and I had to have heart surgery. If I'd had a third, I'd probably killed me. So yeah, we're not all meant to have kids. I was lucky I shot 2 kids out. And I had a miscarriage in between my kids too, along with the back surgery. And I was carrying multiples too. God, how would I have done with that? Okay. Okay, I just want to say I have 7 kids and your videos have helped me so much. Oh, good for you. You know, I just give the advice. You guys are the ones who are doing the work. So congratulate yourself. I'm glad this stuff works. I wouldn't be here if it didn't work. It's not for everybody. There's no foolproof way of doing anything. You know, I know that my methods work for a lot of people, but I think it has to suit you too. Maybe not everyone wants to do this, you know, so if it works for you, that's great. Just got the Facebook notification now that you're live. Wow, that was slow. Yeah, Facebook dribbles out the notifications when I'm live. Instagram sends them all out to everybody instantly. That's why everyone piles in one clump. It's like they all live together and they all tune in at the same time. It's really bizarre. But I know that TikTok and Facebook dribble out the announcements. Yeah, I guess they've got their reasons. I don't know. I agree. My husband finds that it works for him. Everyone's different. You know, we're just, we're all people here. We're all got our own personalities, our own tendencies. And I don't like I hate phoniness. Well, I shouldn't call it that because it's not necessarily phony, but I don't like anything. What's the word? I don't like being formal in any way. There you go. The formality of things. I don't like it. Like if a kid does something wrong, breaks a rule, I don't like saying, now you understand you shouldn't. Oh, I don't talk like that. I go, that was bad. Here's the consequence. Now do you want to go to the park? I just say it like it is. By the way, that's kids' language. They don't like all that fluff either. So yeah, I don't think I ever grew out of that. Okay. How can I help my 2-year-old who says mine and no when it comes to sharing? You can't teach a 2-year-old to share, but you can teach them not to grab stuff off other people. So if they grab something and say mine, you say no, and you give it back to the other kid and then hold back the 2-year-old. Let them scream, let them cry. Those are the lessons. The scenes are the lessons. Everyone's trying, how do I avoid the fits, the meltdowns, the scenes, the tantrums? You don't allow them to go into that. If you're afraid of that, then they're not going to learn anything. They're just going to be in charge. So yeah, those fit scenes, meltdowns, and tantrums are them processing, not getting their own way. So, and that's okay. Those are, you know, whenever a kid has a fit or a scene around me, I always think, wow, great opportunity for me to exercise my leadership. My daughter loves to give out wedgies to her little brother. Is that normal? It's normal to do it, but I would stop it. I'd say if you do that, there'll be a consequence. I don't know how old they are though. If they're 3 and above, use the behavior board. We used to call the front ones veggies. It was a wedgie and a veggie. Yeah, I never grew up. I still giggle at that stupid stuff. What show was that? Oh, I know. Actually, it was my least favorite character on Friends. It was Joey. I didn't find him funny at all. But they were talking about, oh, I do that. And then I think it was Joey started to laugh and they said, no, he's laughing because he said doo-doo. Or no, it was Chandler, I think. He was laughing because he said doo-doo. And it was a job interview. And I thought that would be me. I'm very immature in a lot of ways. I would find that funny. Yeah, I do that. Oh, you said doo-doo. How do I get my 4-year-old to learn personal space? Well, you teach it to them. They're not going to learn what you don't teach. Say, look, when you come in too close with someone, that's fine with us. But if you're coming in too close, they don't always like that. So yeah, it makes people uncomfortable. Just say it like that. Jordan says, I have a hard time coming up with consequences. Don't get caught up in what the consequence is. Just get caught up in the consistency of following through. A consequence is just a good deed. It doesn't have to be something painful that they hate. It could just be wash one window pane, wash one mirror. Just give them a wet rag and just say, wash this mirror. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything, depending on the age, of course, but they have to try. But yeah, don't get caught up in what that's not the key to this. It's not like there's one consequence that'll solve all your problems. It's the follow through, the consistency, the habit forming stuff. That is all that matters. So yeah, the behavior board has some ideas on there, but the behavior board's free. It's at BratBusters.com. Check out our podcast. My daughter and I are having an absolute blast doing it. We're getting better at it. The thing is, she's more cautious. She's more thinks before she speaks, not with us, but in public, like stuff like the podcast. But she's loosening up a lot now. So a lot of funny stuff's coming out. She just doesn't like to be in front of the camera. She likes to be behind the scenes, but she's doing the podcast with me. And it's all on, she's adding them to Facebook now, evidently. You can add, and it's the visual too, the videos. So, and on YouTube, all of our podcasts are on video also on YouTube. So yeah, good for her. She works with me, and I know she hates being in front of the camera. So, but she said, someone's got to read out these questions, Mom, and it'll be better if we're both on video. So I thought, wow. Yeah, we couldn't be more different that way. If I see a camera or a microphone, I'm like zeroing in on it. She's the opposite. So just very different that way. She's much more humble and, I don't know, just not as flamboyant as I am. I've always been the goofy one in the family. You can be goofy and funny and crazy and still get respect. Because if my kids, like when I was chasing them around the house with underpants on my head, they knew if they stepped a toe out of line, those underpants would come off, and I'd say, excuse me, we'll try again tomorrow. They would never have said, sorry, Mom, can you please keep chasing us? They wouldn't even have asked, because they know once I've said, we'll try again tomorrow, they knew it was over. So that's why they never acted out, because they knew Mom. I was very consistent. They knew if they ever did anything rude or disrespectful or naughty, that I would come in really fast with a consequence. So as crazy as I was, my number one job was mom and leader. So, but the rest of the time I was just goofy. So it's not all serious. It's quite the opposite, actually. You'll see by the behavior board, you're on there too. You have rules and consequences. That's what makes it all work. Oh, God, I have no filter. Should I even tell this story? It's a veggie story. I was at the gym the other day. Never mind, you probably got the picture by now. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've already kind of told the story now. I feel I have to. Never mind. There's probably new people on here going, what the heck is she talking about? Okay, how do I get my 2-year-old to stop hitting? I tried fake crying. It works for a minute. Yeah, they don't really care about your feelings in that they love you, but they don't get feelings. Like they just don't get it. So if they hit, you say no, and then you use consistent corrective actions. That means you say no and you remove them or hold them back for a minute. You say no, and then don't look at them after. When you're holding them, don't look at them. No attention is given to that afterwards. So you just completely ignore them. When they go to hit again, prevent subsequent hits. Don't let them keep hitting and no, keep hitting no. You just keep going like that and pushing them away. Remove them from the fun or fun from them. So use consistent corrective actions. They'll eventually learn. My 3-year-old is completely defiant, refuses to follow rules, anything he's told to do, or even do the consequence. What do I do? Check out the behavior board. There's 2 consequences. It's the second one. If you have to resort to the second one, they usually learn. Yeah, check it out. The behavior board's completely free. If they're that defiant, you might want to check out the course, the boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds. My 2-year-old still will not call me mama. He calls everyone everything except me. I feel like he won't say it on purpose. Any tips? Probably annoys you. Say mama, say mama. Yeah, I probably wouldn't continue to do that. What I might do is have someone else call you mama and then answer them. Yes. So they say mama. Maybe try that. But you're kind of sweating the small stuff here. Is it really that big a deal? I wouldn't worry too much about it. Your nephew, I don't discuss nephews or anything. I only talk to parents. I only teach parenting. If I was to tell you something to do with your nephew, what if the parents don't like it? I only teach parenting. I don't teach teaching or anything else. I only teach parenting. Oh, the behavior board, something that you copy out. Yeah, check out BratBusters.com. There's a whole thing on there that tells you how to, like if you go to BratBusters.com, I just did this yesterday. I don't even know what's on there. That's why I look, because my daughter does all that stuff. She does all the back end stuff, like the marketing and all that. Okay, if you go on my website, BratBusters.com, you'll see Learn More. Click on Learn More, and then it'll take you to my Podia page where all my courses are. If you just scroll down, you'll see BratBusters Parenting Newsletter, which has the behavior board in it, and it'll explain how you do it. There's lots of different ways of doing it, but don't get caught up in how it looks or what the consequences are. Just get it done. It's a sign that things are changing. Most people do it on a big poster board. You get them real cheap at the dollar store, like 2 for $1, and then you just print it all out on there and slap it up. You're going to have 3 of them after 3 weeks, 3 different behavior boards, 3 different rules for the kids. Yours never have to change. They might, but they don't have to. The only thing that needs to change is the kids' rules. So you're going to have 3 different rules, 3 different battles over 3 weeks. So check that out. Okay. What are some consequences for a 14-year-old who keeps missing the bus? I have no car or family to drive him, so he has to stay home. I do take his electronics, but he hasn't been working as of lately. I don't know. To be honest, that's more confusing. If taking his electronics away isn't working, I would have to figure out something else. I'd have to find out why he keeps missing the bus. Is he staying up late? Like, what's he doing? I don't know. I don't know why he's late. So that would be coaching. You'd have to hire me for that. Because I would have to ask too many questions to figure it out. Teenagers are a little bit more complex. You've got a lot more history with them. So I'd have to figure out what kind of parent you are too. I remember my son, luckily he could walk to school, but I remember once he was about 16 or something, and I think I drove him. Yeah, he missed I can't remember what happened, but I had to drive him. But yeah, then he just had to vacuum that night or something. I don't know what I would have done. Can you be with him to make sure they get on the bus? He's 14. Yeah, things sometimes do seem simple. I don't find a lot of stuff that simple with teenagers. Be with him when he's on the bus. I think she's probably having a hard time getting him out of bed. I don't know. Maybe she's at work when he's got to get himself off to school. I don't know. Yes, that seems simple is what I'm addressing. It might not be. Okay, this is Truda Friesen on YouTube. Hello, my first is 3 months old. Will I make him demanding if I pick him up shortly after he cries? I'm being told that I'm feeding into future bad behavior. Have you noticed that with all your experience? Well, with all my experience, like 50 plus years, if a baby cries, I pick him up. I spoil him with love, if there is such a thing. Yep, if a baby cries, I pick him up. I remember someone said to me once, you're going to spoil, because as soon as my kids cried, my daughter never really did, but my son would sometimes cry. They weren't big criers. But if he cried, I picked him up. And I remember someone once saying to me, you're going to spoil him. And I went, and what's your point? The baby cries, I pick him up. And with a baby, I meet their needs and I meet their wants. As they become toddlers, I'm pulling away from all the wants as much. But yeah, babies, I pick them up every time. If I can. I mean, if I'm out doing the laundry or something, I can't. But you know what I mean. I couldn't wear my babies either because I had my kids in Australia and it is stinking hot there. I had summer babies. You can't wear them in Australia. Like if I was in a different climate, I would have worn them around the house. But I had a bad back. It would have been harder for me. But yeah, you can't wear them there. It's just too hot. So by the time it would cool down enough to maybe wear them every so often, they were too big for me to carry with my back. But yeah, if I was in a different climate, I would have been wearing them around the house. They were with me all the time. What do you do with an almost 12-year-old who can't help but argue? I try to walk away and not engage, but he won't stop. Going on and on will follow. He possibly ADHD. Yeah, check out the boot camp course. That might be for you. It actually can stretch up to 14, so long as they're not like 14 going on 25. You know what I mean? But yeah, they can only argue if you're arguing with them. So it's kind of a learned behavior, to be honest. I'm going to read something that I came up with a while ago, last week, I think. You can't fight with a calm, loving person forever. So if you're calm and loving and don't fight, he can't fight you forever because there's nothing to fight. He'll give up. So you can't fight with a calm, loving person forever. That could go with adults, whatever. So be calm and loving. Don't fight. If he's fighting, just alrighty then. Okay. Oops, I got to go over to Instagram now if you want to join me over there. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you want to go to BratBusters.com, that's my website. You can look at my free behavior board. You can get my free behavior board. It's not like a mini course. You can get my courses, or you can look into coaching. I have a wait list, but I've got some openings this week. So I've been sending out some invoices this week with coaching. And because I thought it just depends if my current clients re-sign, because a lot of them re-sign and then I don't get any openings. So, but yeah, a bunch of them have finished up. They're doing really well. So that's good. Anyway, or you can look into our podcast. That is BratBusters Parenting. It's on all the platforms. We're doing it twice a week now. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we're releasing them. And so that means tomorrow we've got a new one coming out. What's tomorrow's? Just curious. My daughter does all this. But my daughter and I do it together. So let me see what's coming out tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow is tantrums. Ooh, that was a good one. And yesterday was break the cycle of yelling at your kids. That was a big one. And one of our biggest ones was how to stop kids from whining. We actually like that one too. I don't like talking about everything. And I'll always say it. God, I hate that. I hate this subject. I hate that. But we did 2 today and I really liked both of them. I like talking about, what did I not like talking about? I can't remember. I think it was probably the whining. I don't like talking about it. But once we got going, I was fine. Certain things I just don't like talking about for various reasons. But it's often because I talk about it so much. It's like I'm talked out. But anyway, check out the podcast. It's going really well. We do 2 a week now. We're really enjoying it. And we've got lots of things coming up with the podcast. We're going to start including parents in the podcast. We're just not sure how to do that. So if you want to let us know how you want us to include you in the podcast, then let us know. I don't include people in lives. I have a very good reason for that, but in podcasts will be quite different. You'll be vetted out for one thing. We'll figure, and plus it's going to be recorded. So, we can just get rid of if someone gets rude or, you know what I mean? Like they're just not appropriate. Because I let someone in on a live once. It was a disaster. I didn't know what I was doing. Anyway, I got to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm on YouTube the whole time and I'm hopping over to Instagram now. Happy parenting. Sorry, YouTube. I've just got so many buttons to push to switch over. There we go. Okay. This is my coffee name is Susan. It's cute. You have a coffee name. I like it when people make up silly names for those coffee cups. My 5-year-old flips out over just about everything, especially when receiving direction she doesn't like and immediately runs to sit on my foot, basically straddling my leg. She's just in charge. She's controlling you. She doesn't respect you. Check out the behavior board. It's completely free. Or you might want to look into the boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds and get a handle on your leadership skills. She would not do that if you were a leader. Yeah, she's just trying to manipulate you. She's trying to work the system. She's trying to get under your skin, and it obviously works. That's why she's doing it. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. Sorry. Just got an email from someone that I'm so mad at. It's my internet provider. Boy, they messed up big time. What they promised they were going to do and what they've done. But anyway, I was on the phone yesterday for 7.5 hours, and it was a real life lesson because I thought I was starting to feel nauseous. I got so upset because I felt taken advantage of. They were really giving me the runaround. Then they dropped the call. You have to call back, wait another hour and 20 minutes for, on hold. And I felt completely taken advantage of. It's just made me feel sick to my stomach. So yeah, anyway, I've got to try and deal with this. They were supposed to call at 2:30. That was 2 hours ago. They never got back to me. So it's really frustrating. And I've got to learn. It bothers me that bothers me. It's in the scheme of things with life. Is that a big deal? No. But 7.5 hours out of my day yesterday, I wasted on that. And I'm worse off now than I was before with them. Yeah, it bothers me that bothers me. I'm mad at myself for getting upset over that. I even went to the gym this morning. I could barely work out. I was still nauseous over that whole day. Isn't that dumb? I'm 64. I've been through a lot in my life. And yet that upset me? Why? It bothers me that it bothered me. Come on, Lisa, grow up, for God's sake. I got on my nerves with all that. Anyway, welcome to the live. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. I'm also a mom and a grandmother. If you want to check out my website, BratBusters.com, you can get my free behavior board, my courses, my coaching. There's a wait list, but I'm taking on new clients this week if you're interested. There's still a bit of a wait list, but I am taking on a few clients this week. And then if they don't pay within 48 hours, that spot's opened up again for someone else once I've sent out an invoice. So that's why, I never quite know who's going to pay and who isn't, because sometimes people say, oh, not right now, whatever. So, and also you can look into our podcast. It's BratBusters Parenting. It's on all the platforms. My daughter and I do it together. You can see it in video form on YouTube if you're interested. I think she's starting to download them onto Facebook too in video. Okay, let's get going with your questions. I try to go to the end because I want to make sure you're still here when I ask. Can you remind us of your credentials or experience? I have 0 credentials, thank God, because I'm not under any umbrella. I can say whatever I want. I'll just tell you quickly, I got a siren going by. I'll just tell you quickly, I was 11 years old and I started volunteering in daycare centers. And even then the daycare ladies would say to me, how do you do that? You're fun with the kids, but they listen to you. I was a leader back then. I just always sort of had it in me. And I love mothering. I'm always mothering kids. I could never be a teacher or anything. I would hate that. It's not for me. I have so much respect for teachers, but it's not for me. I'm the one-on-one mother. I mother kids. That's what I do. Anyway, so then I thought when I was 20, I thought, I should be a child psychologist. So I enrolled in some classes and I was kicked out within 1 week. I asked too many questions and the other students were asking me questions about kids instead of the teacher. They couldn't get rid of me fast enough. And the stupid thing is I just left and got my money back. I should have said I'm not leaving. If I'd held out, they would have paid double to get rid of me. They did not want me in there at all. Thank God. It would have been horrible for me to be under an umbrella of things I have to say and not to say. I'm kid taught. I've been volunteering with kids for like 50 years. And I've worked with delinquent teenagers, toddlers, disabled children, also abused children. I specialize in teen crisis work. So it's all kid taught. And plus I've got a couple of grown kids now and a granddaughter. So it's just heavy experience based. And I developed my own methods. Kids taught me all this. I remember when I first started working with delinquent teenagers or troubled teens, whatever you want to call them. And they were in trouble. I really liked them. I got really close to them. And I remember I got a little bit of training and I remember thinking I had no experience with teenagers, but my son was 12 when I first started doing that. And I thought, he's almost a teenager. I don't know anything about teenagers. So I quickly, did this mentorship program. They gave me some training and I knew I was never going to do any of it. I knew I was going to figure it all out on my own. And one of the teenagers said to me at the end of it, he says, I didn't like myself until I met you, Lisa. And they said, you got to teach this stuff. So they inspired me to teach it. I always kind of had it in me, but I only did it volunteering because I loved working with kids with behavioral issues. I found I was good at it and I enjoyed it. And then I never dreamt I would turn that into a business. That was about 20 years ago when I started my company. And then I really took off 2 years ago, like just crazy. It went crazy 2 years ago. I went on TikTok and blew up. So, and that's why my daughter's working with me full time now. Before that, I was all by myself. So anyway, there you go. Heavily experience-based. I would never take parenting advice because it's so personal. I wouldn't, and a lot of my clients are teachers, principals, and child psychologists. I couldn't do their jobs. They struggle with parenting. Business, personal. It's very different. But yeah, I never ever dreamt I'd be doing this for work ever. I was shocked when I did. But how do you teach parenting? But anyway, I would never take parenting advice from someone who didn't have these qualifications. They have to have had experience with hundreds of kids. Otherwise, how can you teach parenting? How do you know what's out there? Also, they have to have finished the job with their own kids. If they haven't lived with teenagers, how can they possibly teach parenting? And the third one is that I have three. What the heck is the third one? I can't remember what it is right now. Tons of experience. Blah, blah, blah. I just added this one. They have to have found parenting easy. Why would you take advice from someone who struggled with parenting? Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. If they struggled with their toddlers, but then they figured it out when they were 5, how can they tell you how to handle toddlers? So maybe they figured it out, or maybe they're still struggling. It doesn't make any sense at all to me. How can you teach parenting if you haven't finished the job and found it easy? It's frustrating for me because I know what's being taught out there just from what my clients teach me. I don't look at anyone. I don't know who else is out there. And it's frustrating because I know what they're saying is going to backfire in the teen years. I know what they're teaching is wrong. And because I know where they're headed. And it's frustrating for me. So yeah, make sure there's lots of other old people out there like me, I'm sure, heavily experience-based. I would check that out. If you don't like me, go to someone else with that experience. It's everything with parenting. Okay. My 14-year-old wants to do no extra activities and has low self-esteem. Did you already ask me this a week or two ago? I feel bad forcing her to do extra activities because she's so overwhelmed with school. Any advice? Get her into fun stuff. Get her into crafts or something like that. And also take her outside. Low self-esteem. I would take her outside of your school zone so that she doesn't run into all the same kids. Get her into something more relaxing like crafts. Get her into a book club, something like that. I would force her to do something. Yeah, I would. I'd cut a deal with her. If you do that, I'll do this for you. So yeah, cut a deal. Negotiate with her. She's 14. But I would make her do something, but I'd make it worth her while. I'd cut a deal. That's respect with teenagers. Well, this is Michelle. My 6-year-old doesn't follow the after-school routine. He's always all over the house and driving his brother crazy, running after him, teasing. I don't know what your routine is, and I don't know how old the brother is, and I don't know. So yeah, sometimes the best thing you can do after school is take them to a park and let them race around if they are hyper, especially because they've been controlling themselves to some extent all day at school, and then they get in the car and all hell breaks loose. So yeah, maybe take them to a park and have them run around a little bit. I don't know, it might help. But I don't know what your routine is. So is it reasonable? My name is often misread in the worst way. I don't even want to guess with that one. Oh, okay. I have someone, I can't say who it is, darn it, it's a client. They have a name that it's from a different country. And I'm sure, and it is pronounced phonetically, but I was hesitant to even try. So they said, yeah, we know in English what it means. I can't say what it is. I'd probably get shut down on here if I said it anyway. That's what I love about my job. I coach people all over the world. I learn about a whole bunch of different cultures, which I absolutely love. I'm very open-minded. I love embracing different cultural ideas and all this. I'm very impressionable. And I love talking about all the different, the ways that they run their household, the way that their meals. I just love all this stuff. So I'm very lucky I get to meet people all over the world. Okay, you have to put down the age. And also you have to condense your full question into one comment. Otherwise, I don't know. Like sometimes people say, and another thing, well, I don't know what the first thing was because, I'm looking at two different screens here too. So I've got YouTube on the go at the same time. So yeah, put your question in a condensed one comment and put the age too. Okay. I'm going to read out the 4 stages of parenting. I just made this up, but it's kind of true. So what you go through as a parent and how your parenting kind of changes throughout the years. I have it in 4 different stages. I'm generalizing here, but the first stage is the baby stage, 0 to 15 months. You're just loving them up, picking them up when they cry. You're just nurturing them constantly. You're starting to teach them right from wrong, but you're not really disciplining. It's more like no, and just holding them back if they try and grab something really gently. Then you go into the toddler stage, 16 to 35 months, the way I split it up. 16 to 35 months, you're teaching them right from wrong. Now you're starting to discipline them. So you use consistent corrective actions and just pick your battle, 1 battle per week. Maybe don't address everything in the first week or 2 or whatever. So you just say, okay, no more hitting. And then when they hit, you say no, and you take fun away from them or them away from the fun every single time. You've got to be consistent. They don't learn the first 20 times. It might take 50 times, but they learn through repetition. Then you go into the next stage. That's the child stage. This is 3 to 12 years old. It includes tweens, and preteens, which are 9 to 12. So children are 3 to 12 years old. Your parenting is very much the same. That's why my boot camp course is 3 to 12 years old. They're very different ages, and I've adjusted that in the course. But your parenting style is very much the same. You're at the height of your leadership skills. That's when you have the most power over their behavior. When they're toddlers, they're nuts, and they're teenagers, they're kind of pulling away from you a little bit. But you're at the height of your leadership. Their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting and your leadership or lack of between the ages of 3 and 12 years old. That's actually the easiest years. Then you go into the teen years, 13 plus. That one is you have to start letting go. You only come in with the big stuff. You got to be really careful with it. Actually, I'm going to read out my tips for parenting teenagers. These are my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. You also negotiate as much as possible with teenagers. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? Like that girl I recommended, she's 14, that you want to get her into some art or craft or whatever, something creative. And you say, look, I want you to join an art school or something creative. What do you want from me? Let's start the negotiations. Stuff like that, okay? Number 3, don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, just say, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? And laugh it off. Allow them to be human. Allow them to make mistakes, just like you did, just like you do. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. I always say the road to success is paved with failures. So if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. So number 4, don't leverage the good times to discuss the bad times. I won't go on about that one, which I tend to do. And number 5, this one, don't be a right fighter. You can either be a right fighter or you can be happy. That can be said with teenagers and adults, or really anybody. No one likes a right fighter. And also when someone's arguing with you, they usually know that you're right anyway. So there's no point arguing. Just don't be a right fighter. I'm pretty good with words. You know how you think, gee, I should have said that. I'm pretty good at coming up with stuff in the moment. If someone comes at me, I'm pretty good at leveling them. So I don't do it anymore, though. I just let them level themselves. It's a slower burn, but I don't like being a right fighter. It's not a nice personality trait. It's just not. Being right is not cute. There's nothing cute about it. Or likable. When my almost 6-year-old says things back when I say something about her behavior, like, whatever, shut up, I need rest. Well, why do you say something about her behavior? Just lay down a consequence and never address attitude. That's in the attitude department. Let her express her disgust with you. That's in the attitude department. You can't change that anyway. It makes you look weak. It just does. Don't address attitude. Oh, I don't like your attitude, Missy. So what's your point? It's not going to do anything. So yeah, just ignore it. The attitude is the very last thing to go. You got to earn this. It's the very last thing to disappear, and it happens organically once you're a leader. So I know parents who have teenagers who hire me, they always say, when does the attitude go away? I said, probably a few weeks out, or maybe even a couple of months after we finish working together, because it takes time. The attitude is the very last thing to correct itself, and it happens organically. You don't discuss it. But if she says, shut up, I would address that. That's like a bad word. don't say rude words. I would address that one. I would say don't, like shut up is like a bad word. So I would say you can't say bad words, including shut up. So I would put that down, or stupid or anything like that. You can't call people stupid or tell them to shut up. So yeah, I would put that on the behavior board. But don't say, when you get upset, you say, don't talk like that. Just say, okay, from now on, the rule is no bad words, which includes shut up, calling people stupid, whatever. Put that down there. And then there's a consequence when she does it. I talk so much about discipline on these lives, but when I'm coaching, it's not. I'm really more about connecting with kids, teaching you how to connect with them. It's the pool story. The pool story is called Example of Leadership Parenting. If you go into YouTube, it'll be in there. And it's called, just look up BratBusters pool story, and it'll come up in YouTube. And it just explains how when they do something bad, I don't let anything go. I address it. When you're learning how to do this, you have to let stuff go, but I would never do that because I'm level 10 with what I teach, obviously. So if they do something bad, I say it like it is, that was bad, or, and then here's the consequence. Then I work on connecting with them. Yeah, I spend very little time on discipline. I spend a lot of time on connecting with kids, trying to bring out the best in them. So look at the pool story, BratBusters pool story. Go on YouTube, you'll see it. Okay, this one's kind of hard in the moment. How to address, I was reading it thinking, should I even read it out? Because I don't really have a great answer. But I'm going to read it out because I like to be transparent here. I don't have all the answers right away, but because I need to ask a few questions and I can't really do that on here. How to address constant interruptions. My 2-year-old doesn't like it when I talk to his dad and keeps yelling over us. That's just a sign you're not a leader and he's trying to take control. So there's so many different ways you can deal with that. And I don't know how you're set up or how much he does it but does he get enough attention too? So if he does, I'd say, okay, we're going to play now. And then when he interrupts, I'd say no. And then I might go and take a favorite toy away and put it up and say, no interrupting. And then when he does it again, I go and say, no interrupting. The problem with that is it can become a game. So we'd probably try that. If it doesn't work, we'd go to something else. But yeah, 2-year-old is hard to teach that too. When they're 3 and above, you just put on the behavior board, no interrupting, or there's a consequence. They don't always know that they're doing it. So if they're 3 and above and they're interrupting, you say, every time you interrupt, I'm going to pull on my ear, which means you're interrupting. If you keep doing it, there'll be a consequence. So they don't always know they're doing it. It's like whining. We do like that too. If you're whining, I'll go like this. It means I'm not going to answer you. But if you talk nicely, I'll answer, but the answer may still be no. Okay. What time is it? Shoot. I got to go over to TikTok. My name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach, mom, and a grandmother. If you want to go to my website, BratBusters.com, you can get my free behavior board. My courses, I have 2 of them, one for toddlers, one for older kids, or you can look into coaching. I'm taking new clients on this week if you're interested, but I think I've got about 8 backed up right now. So we'll see if they want to join up. And I don't know how many I've got open right now. Anyway, and then you can look into the podcast. My daughter and I do a podcast twice a week. And every Tuesday and Thursday morning. It's across all the platforms. It's doing really well. I just want to thank you for your support in that. We're putting the book on the back burner right now. I said 2025 was the year of the book. I've had publishers approach me all the time, and we were actually going to do it. But now we just started the podcast 3 months ago, and it's taking off. So we're going to take the book energy and put it into the podcast. We're going where you're going, basically. You're the ones who are letting us know what you like. So if you want a book, you can let us know. We do have plans to do it, maybe 2026, or we might have time to do it this year. We've got a lot on the go. We're just going to figure it out. It's just the 2 of us running this family business, and we're staying we've got to have work-life balance too. We both work 7 days a week, but it's, not all day, every day. Like some days we might work 14 hours. Other days we might work 2 hours. So, but yeah, we work really hard in the business, but we need work-life balance, right? So anyway, it's just my daughter and I. So anyway, the podcast is doing really well. Thanks for your support. I'm hopping over to TikTok now. If you want to join me over there, I'm on YouTube the whole time. Happy parenting. That's TikTok. Always starts with an ad now. Didn't used to do that. Okay, there we go. Podcast is better than book, in my opinion. Yeah. The book is more of a slow burn. Like the book is a big investment. It would probably take us a year or two to even get it out by the time you start it, especially if you're working with a big publishing house. It takes about 2 years from start to finish to get it out. Whereas a podcast is, hey, tomorrow. Like it's just, so hopefully we'll be able to do both, but we'll see. Yeah, thanks for your feedback. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough because like we only want to keep this company, just the two of us, like a family business, because we both know everything that's happening. We don't have to tell each other well, she does tell me what to do, but I have no idea what she does. She's very much in charge of marketing and planning. And we just don't want the company to grow too much, too fast, because we've got to stay on track with what we're doing here. We're here serving you. And if we got really busy with all those money-making ventures like books and that, then I couldn't do all this free stuff. The podcast is free. The videos are free. The lives are free. And that's important to both of us, that we provide you with all this free stuff, right? Because that's part of who I am. I don't want you to have to pay me for all this. If you want to, that's fine. But it's important to me that most of my content is free. So, and that's really important. I've got to make a living too. But I mean, if we start writing a book, I don't know how many lives, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of work. Plus, there's no way I'd put out a book that I wasn't really proud of. So it'd be a lot of work. Okay. Welcome to the live TikTok people. I don't know if you're going to be ending in the United States. What's going on with that? Is TikTok going to be banished from the United States on the 19th or something? I don't know if that's still going to happen. I have no idea. But that'll be a big part of my audience. And TikTok is really close to my heart. That's where I blew up. I blew up on TikTok 2 years ago. And so, yeah, I'm very attached to TikTok. So I hope it doesn't leave the United States. Yeah, I'd be really disappointed. But anyway. And also, I just want to make this clear too. Someone said, "Oh, you're making a fortune on TikTok." If TikTok paid Canadians like they do the rest of the world, I would have made hundreds of thousands of dollars on TikTok. But we don't get 1 cent from TikTok. They don't pay Canadians. So yeah, I don't get paid for this. Just in case you thought I did. How would we find you if it does? How would we find you if it does? If what does? I never listened to myself, so I don't know what I said. How would we find you if it does? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I'm on Instagram and I'm everywhere else. Just go on my website and you'll see BratBusters.com. So yeah, I've got my podcast. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the website BratBusters.com. Just go on that. If it does get banned. Yeah. Ooh. You know what though? As much as I love TikTok, I never used to watch it. I just went on here and started filming. That's all. I was standing in my bathroom filming and just blew up overnight. Couldn't believe it. And I never watched it. I would say about a month ago, I started watching TikTok from my personal channel. I don't follow anyone anywhere. And I'm very careful about that. So I started watching TikTok. Oh, God, it's addictive. It is. And then I'm trying to watch some YouTube and I keep going back to TikTok. It's just feeding me all the stuff I want to see. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. They probably know everything about me by now because they know exactly what I watch. Mostly animal rescues. And I never look at anything with kids ever. Yeah, because I've never studied kids or anything like that online. Never look at it. But anyway, it's addictive. Okay, I don't know did I introduce myself on here? I can't remember. Anyway, I'll do it again because I hop from different platform to platform. I go from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok. So anyway, I'm Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on my website, BratBusters.com, you can see my free behavior board, my courses, my coaching, and the podcast. Okay. Thanks so much, Dula. That's cute. I recognize the name. That's on YouTube. Podcast is great. I listen every week and would love to read the book. Yeah, we'd love to write it too, but you can understand, my God, how fussy we would be about what goes in that, right? Podcasts are more fleeting, but yeah, book is like, it just feels like, boy, you got to put all your best stuff in there. It'd be a lot of pressure. and you can pay people to write a book. Do you know how much they charge to write the book for you? I can't remember who's it. It's about $100,000 to have for a big publishing house. It's about $100,000 to have someone write a book for you. Yeah, it's quite a process. So, but if they want you bad enough, they cover all that anyway. But yeah, it's a huge process. It's quite overwhelming, and we're very simple people. My daughter and I, we keep it all very manageable. We're control freaks, so we need to control everything that happens in the business. And yeah, the book feels more like, I don't know. I don't want someone else telling me what to write. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, at what age can we sleep train a baby? I have a 7-week-old. I can't answer that because I don't know. I'm not I don't teach sleep training, and I don't think anyone can really tell you what the best age is for that. I mean, I do teach sleep training, but it's not my specialty. I did both my kids at about 8 to 10 months. Up until then, I'm a real softie with babies. I figure if a baby cries in the middle of the night, I'm running down the hall to pick them up, or they were right beside me in the bassinet. Or co-sleeping, which I'm not a proponent of co-sleeping. I did it with my daughter for, I think, 8 months. I hated it. Never really slept. I was terrified I was going to roll over and smother her. So, and then we'd trade off, here, you take her. And then we'd lay in bed wide awake, take turns holding her because she really loved to be cuddled. And I give whatever a baby wants, I give it to them. I'm very, I believe in just giving babies whatever they want. But that's why I don't teach it, because it's not like I think that's necessarily the right way to do. It's just what I do. How do your methods change with kids with ADHD? That's where I learned all this stuff. I didn't learn much with my own kids. I learned most of this working with other people's kids. And I was never handed easy kids to work with. No one ever said, here's an easy one, Lisa. They all went, good luck with this one. So yeah, those are all the kids I worked with. I used to call them alphabet kids. They often came with big files. Here, Lisa, you might want to read the file before you work with them. I never opened one file. I never cracked one file open, not once, not ever. In all those years, I'm proud of that. I just dealt with the personality. I did the relationship stuff. I wasn't assessing their ADHD or anything. That's not my job. I don't do that. I just bring out the best. My job was always to bring out the best in them. My goal was always, whenever I was working with a kid, that they liked themselves when they were with me. My goal was always their self-esteem. That's it. Their behavior took second. I dealt with it, but my main goal with kids is self-esteem. And if you're not dealing with bad behavior, you're not dealing with self-esteem. Kids who are acting out have low self-esteem. Yeah, I always wanted them to like themselves when they were with me. Now, if someone makes you feel good about yourself, how do you treat that person? So the payoff was that because they liked themselves when they were with me, I brought out the best in them. How do you think they treated me? Pretty darn good, right? Timeout is mean. Yeah, I don't like timeout. I just don't like it. Actually, I hate it. Timeout to me is mean. You go over there, you're not even worth looking at. You go over, think about what you did. They're not thinking about what they did. They're just sitting in a corner feeling like crap about themselves. There's 3 things that I can't stand. One is timeout. These are 3 commonly used discipline methods that I hate. One is timeout. What's even worse is diversion, because you never divert with broccoli. If they're doing something naughty, you're never diverting with broccoli. You're always diverting with something they like. So you've just rewarded the bad behavior. The worst one is countdown. When they're doing something naughty and you say, if you don't stop that by the time I get to 3, you're in trouble, mister. So they're not in trouble for the 20 hits that they got in. That, you know what I mean? So they'll be hitting their little brother 20 times and then you go 3 and they break. Where's the consequence? They've just learned it's okay to be rotten and mean in the short term, but not the long term. It's such a mixed message. And it's a fear-based parenting method. All of those are. Look at it. They're all fear-based parenting methods. Time out. Go over there. I don't know what to do with you. Ick. Go over there. Ugh. You're not even worth talking to. Diversion. Over here. Over here. You're not dealing with the bad behavior at all. Over here. Look, here's a clown. Da, 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 da. Okay. And countdown. Well, I'm going to count to 3. If you don't stop that, 1, 2, 2.5. It's all fear-based, not leadership at all. They got your number if you're doing any of those things. They got you figured out. What about calm down time? I don't know how you're using that, but no. Let them learn how to calm down themselves. It's important to allow their brain to process a tantrum, going into it, doing it, and coming out of it. If you interfere in that, they've learned nothing. So what are you meant to do? Everything else I'm talking about. If they're under the age of 3, so they're toddlers, you use consistent corrective actions. You've got to be consistent because they learn through repetition. So if they're doing something naughty, you say no, and you remove them from the fun or fun from them, okay? And then if they're 3 and above, you use my behavior board. There's a rule and a consequence for every member of the family, including you. Parents have to be on there. Leaders are accountable, or else you're not a leader, you're just a dictator. So I don't teach that. I teach accountability because they're not listening to you, they're watching you. If they see you being accountable, they're going to be accountable. If you're not accountable, why should they be? It's unfair. They're going to rebel like crazy in the teen years, if not before. How do you handle lying to or manipulating siblings? Well, I can't address the manipulating because I don't know exactly what you're talking about. But I would just put no lying on the behavior board. You can put that down. And then you put down, I will decide, I'll make the call. I'll decide when you're lying. There's a lot more to it too, but that's basically, I would put that down. Can talk more about the behavior chart. The behavior board is 3 different stages. I used to call it my 3-step parenting plan. I got rid of that. It actually is 3 steps: rules, consequences, and family motto. I never talk about the family motto anymore, but it's just there as a gentle reminder. And it's usually something like, we respect ourselves and others. It's just a reminder, but I don't really talk about it. But anyway, so the rules and the consequences. Everybody is in the rules. So you go rules, mom, dad, Johnny, Sally, whatever. Then you go consequences. Everybody has a consequence too. The kids have 2 consequences though. The first one is a positive action. So if they do something naughty, you put down something like this. You broke the rule. So your consequence is you have to do a chore within 15 minutes of being asked to do so, and then start the timer. If they haven't done it in 15 minutes, the timer goes off. Even if they run and do it afterwards, I forgot I'm doing it now. Oh, well, 24-hour media blackout starts now because that's the second consequence, or something like that. You have to make it for your own family how it works. Everybody's on there. Make sure you break the rule because you want the kids to see you getting punished. Usually the punishment with the parents is 10 minutes of hide and seek or something. So if you yell, you broke the rule, no yelling. If you yell, you have to play hide and seek for 10 minutes. So, and it's visual. You put it up in a high traffic area. Week 1, you have 1 board. Week 2, you have 2. Week 3, you have 3. You don't go past that. It's just 3 behavior boards. And then after that, you do in the moment discipline. That's in the courses. It's a little bit more involved, but you've got to learn how to do this before you can just wing it with in the moment discipline. Like I would never use a behavior board. It's weak for me because I want those kids looking at me. I don't want them looking at a board. It's taking some of the blame off of you. Also, when people hire me, I say, talk about me a lot. It's giving some of the power over to me and also the board because they're not strong enough yet. It's teaching you how to do this. Eventually by week 4 in coaching, usually we'll move away from the behavior boards, and then we do in the moment discipline, and we start addressing everything, not just what's on the board. But yeah, in the free behavior board course, that will just go through the 3 weeks of the behavior boards. And it's just setting you up, teaching you how to make kids accountable. That's all it is. But you're on there. Make sure you mess up so that they see you being accountable. I was in trouble all the time. I was the one in trouble for sure. I'm very goofy and I don't think before I act. I'm a nutcase. So I was always, yeah, I promise I'll do that tonight. And of course I'd forget. And my kids they loved it when I messed up. The next day, you forgot last night. You didn't do that, did you? No, I forgot. What do you want? We'd love to go to the water slide park after school. So I was always in trouble. The behavior board is free. How much are the courses? Everything's on my website, BratBusters.com. But there's a lot of free content out there, and that's why we're very careful in this business because it's my daughter and I. She does all my marketing, all my planning. We are very she tells me what to do and I just do it. She's in charge. I'm the product, but she runs the stuff. So we're very careful. We are heavily invested in free content. That is what you get most of what we do. Is free content. All these videos, all the lives, the podcasts, the behavior board. This is all free. So that's really important to us. It's a family business. It's a passion. It's not just a business. I've been working with kids I've been volunteering with kids for like 30 years before I ever started my business. and like 20 years ago. So yeah, it's a passion. And also it's such a feel-good business, right? And it's a family business. So most of what we do is free. Lots of people are getting great results without paying any money at all. They're just using the behavior board, listening to the podcast. If you watch enough of my videos, I've had parents who say they have binged my videos, and then they'll hire me after that, and they say, "Yeah, I just get it. I just want you to make sure we're doing it right." So they say the binging, and I do that too. If I really want to learn something, I'll binge it. I couldn't binge myself and puke, but it's hard. God, it's hard to watch yourself. Anyway, but yeah, just get into the mindset of this leadership is kindness. It is connection. It is fun. Get all that pesky discipline cemented when they're little, and then you can just relax and enjoy. Right through the teen years, just like I did. But you got to earn that. You got to earn that respect. And it's mutual. You give respect before you get it. Everyone expects to get it. Have you earned it? You got to work for that. You got to earn it. You think I just walked into a room with a troubled teenager and got respect? Are you freaking kidding me? Do you know what I had to do to get respect with those troubled teenagers? I won't go into it, but it was hard work. They test you. They can see a weakness. They're freaking brilliant. It's like they've got X-ray vision for weaknesses. You can just see them looking at you, sizing you up. What can I say to her that would hurt? They're out for blood, right? When you first meet them. I had to work to get respect. I did it. It was hard work. And I got really close to them too. Okay. Do you know what's interesting is now I've been on here regularly for a couple of years now. I don't get as many people arguing with me. Where the heck have they all gone? That really gets me fired up because I love making change. I love being challenged because that makes me drive my point home even more. But where are you? Where have you all gone? I miss that. I truly do. So yeah, if you know anyone who would hate me, send them my way. Send them into a live so they can shake things up a little bit. One of the biggest things that people get mad at with me is when I say you ignore them while they're having a tantrum. You never ignore their feelings and their emotions. A tantrum is not feelings and emotions. A tantrum is a loss of emotional control at not getting their own way. You never validate that. When you validate that, you're validating the tantrum. So yeah, and even afterwards, I need a hug. You're all right. Okay, let's go read a book. I don't coddle anything around a tantrum. So yeah, that gets people riled up, which I love. Okay. They've realized you've got a point. Yeah, I don't know. I think they just gave up. I think they thought they could get rid of me. Yeah, I think they thought so. I'm 64. I ain't going nowhere. I've been doing this forever. Also, be careful, though. There's a lot of imposters out there because I've got a big following now across the platforms. And there's imposters taking money off parents, pretending to be me. They're using, and my name's Lisa, and my company is BratBusters. And yeah, they've got all sorts of connotations of the name and my name, and they're using all my videos, and they're literally taking money and not delivering anything. So be careful. Go to BratBusters.com. That is me. It's not .ca. It's not .net. It's .com. BratBusters.com. So yeah, that frustrates me. But you can't close them down anyway. They're impossible to close down. And if you could, they're just going to start up again anyway. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of people out there taking money. And it's frustrating because then they'll come to me and they'll say, you never got back to me. I paid for coaching and everything. You never got back to me. And I'll say, that wasn't me. That was someone else. They'll tell me the email they sent it to. It's not me. Oh, it makes me feel sick, but I can't do anything about that. Okay, internet trolls are far and few between in that they like teenagers. They know the weak points. They will be more comment on a video than a live for sure. Oh, I see. Okay. No, I used to get a lot of them in here in the lives. They would come at me, but they know I think that's it. They know I love all that stuff. And also it always amazes me when some stranger online bullies tries to bully me. I'm like, how important do you think your comment is to me? Like, how important do you think that is? Like, it's just like they think it's going to crush me for some reason. I'm very sensitive in my inner circle. But if some snotty stranger says something, I'm like, I feel sorry for them. It's, you can't be mean and happy at the same time. It's impossible. So yeah, they're putting out all this spit and venom and all that stuff, and they just make themselves look and feel bad. So I feel bad for them. But some of them do have good points too. those are the ones I like, is if they come in here and maybe they have a lot of credentials and they'll say, I'm full of crap because of this and that. I'm happy to address that. Because I don't think there's only one way of parenting. Maybe it's not going to work for everybody. That's part of life. How do you train a grandparent to follow the system? You don't really. I only teach parenting, and I only teach parenting. I teach parents how to be leaders. I'm not teaching you how to teach anyone else how to be a leader. Like, I'm a grandmother. My son and his wife, they're the leaders, not me. It's their kid. I'm just here. It's the law that I'm supposed to spoil her. It's like a law. I'd probably go to jail if I didn't. That's my job. But I'll be daycaring her part-time, and the other grandparents will also be doing that eventually. And we'll have our own systems. But if the parents say, we want you to do this and do that, well, of course, I'm going to do whatever they want. It's their kid, not mine. So, and they're great parents. And, we'll respect that. But it's not up to grandparents to lead your kids, but they should follow things that you want done with your kid to an extent. Also, but I also go the other way too. And I say, if you're dropping off, like, this is daycare, more time involved, I can see it. But if you're just babysitting once in a while, and you're getting babysitters or grandparents once in a while, if you trust someone enough to look after your kid, don't micromanage them. Let them do whatever they want with it. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you trust them enough to look after your kid, don't micromanage them. By the way, kids only need one leader. They will, once you get good at it, their personality forms under the leader's personality. It forms under the relationship they have with the leader. And it spreads to everyone else. If they have a really strong leader that they respect, they treat everyone respectfully eventually. That's the way it works. So not everyone has to be the leader. You can only have you only need one leader in a family, so long as the other parent doesn't undermine the leader. Okay. What age do they recognize the leader? I would say 1.5, 1 to 1.5, they'll start to pick up on it. I know that because I've just seen it, but also with our kids, I was the leader and their dad, a great dad, but was more the pleaser. I had a lot of experience with kids, right? So he was more the pleaser. And it was when they started doing the crocodile roll on the change table, when you're trying to change their diaper. That was when I noticed it, and I didn't put up with it. I would hold them down and just get it done. Like, I wouldn't say anything really. I'd just say, I'm changing your nappy. It was nappy in Australia. I raised my kids called a nappy. Changing a nappy, and I would just do it. Their dad was more inclined to negotiate. Well, if I put you down, you get a teddy bear, and then you can hold it. Will you be good then? And I would get a cup of tea and lean in the door frame and watch the show. So they were little. They understood. They didn't fight me after a while. They knew there was no point, whereas they would fight their dad. So he eventually learned how to do this too. But yeah, they pick up on that really quickly. They learn that there's no point fighting mom because she's going to do it anyway. Okay. Actually, I have to get going. Oh, shoot. Oh, I got to get going. Anyway, I'm running late. I'm going to run late for something. So I got to get going. Thanks so much for joining me. Check out my link, not my link, or you can check out my website. It's probably on my link too, BratBusters.com. You can see my free behavior board, my courses, my coaching, and you can look into the podcast. My daughter and I do it together. We do it twice a week now. Thanks for all your support. We were just doing it once a week. We might even end up doing it 3 times a week. It's just taking off. We're just shocked. So I'm very grateful. So, but also we'd like your input on the podcast. There's all sorts of places where she's asked, especially on Instagram. I think she's got a section there, like or even in the podcast, you can make comments on what you want. We would like to bring parents in on the podcast, sort of like a live, but back and forth talking. So we just don't know how we're going to do that yet. So if you'd like that, can you please let us know? And if you have any ideas, maybe you know other people who do it in a way that you like. So, this is for you. We're not doing it for us. We're doing it for you. So we do want to bring you in on the podcast, though. We're just trying to figure out how to do that. So your input would be much appreciated. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. I always appreciate it. And happy parenting. Bye now.